Nora, it's time you started planning. You go out soon. You should have a clear idea of what you're going to do.
Well, I can't go back there. The old street knows what I did to my kid.
As where is your baby now? In care?
And my sister's got a Stowe.
And the father?
You tell me. The minute I was nicked, he was off. What's there to go back to?
Well, I wouldn't want you to go back to that anyway. The court took the view that it was your surroundings, bad accommodation and working all night, that blew up into violence against your baby. Nora, you do want your baby back, don't you?
I don't know. I might do it again, mightn't I?
Assaulting a prison officer is a very serious offence, and it's also a very silly one. I don't know what you hope to gain by it. Now, you realise you have to be punished, don't you? Loss of privileges and remission. You're going to be with us for more than a year. If there's anything on your mind, the sooner you tell us about it, the sooner we might be able to help you. Has this prisoner seen Dr. Mays yet?
He wants to have her in the hospital wing for observation.
Very well.
Right.
Thank you, Miss Parrish.
Thank you.
Ah, Miss Clarke. My report on Nora Block.
Ah, thank you. Oh, is there anything, do you think, in her fear that she might do it again?
No more than in most of our fears of repeating ourselves. No, you've got the right answer. Improve her environment.
Oh, it's all right for you psychiatrists. That's easier said than done.
If you won't help me, I can't help you. I need to know how you're feeling, what you're feeling, what your state of mind is. Well, she has me beaten. Won't speak, hardly eats. I don't know whether to give her tranquilizers or antidepressants. Either could be quite the wrong thing.
Thank God for a cautious physician.
They're not all pill machines, you know.
What's she in for?
Currency smuggling and fraud.
When did she come in?
About a week ago.
And it's just the one violent outbreak she's had.
As I understand it, yes.
Leave her to me. I'll tell you what she's made of.
The psychiatrist was quite clear about it, Nora. You're not a naturally violent person. It was one explosion. Does that make you feel any better? Do you want your baby back?
Yes.
Good. Well, we'd better start getting you organised. First of all, we've got to find somewhere for you to stay when you get out. What about your sister?
She wouldn't have me. She says I've disgraced the family.
She took your baby in?
She wouldn't have her going into care, that's all. She thought it'd look bad for her.
Well, is there anyone else who'd take you in? No, just till you got on your feet again.
No.
Do you mind if I talk to your sister?
It won't do any good.
Well, no harm in trying. What's the address?
I recommended that she be sent back to the wing because she was doing no good where she was.
You mean you can do nothing for her?
Well, not exactly, but she's a puzzle. Her profile, insofar as I can establish it, doesn't match her behaviour or her symptoms.
Oh, what are we supposed to do? I mean, how do we approach her?
Treat her as normally as you can. The violence was probably a once-only reaction. If it wasn't, we'll soon find out.
Why?
Because she's back in the environment that triggered it.
Dr. Russell, you're all heart.
Professional objectivity, you know.
Good morning, Chantal.
When the governor pays you a visit, it's customary to stand up.
Thank you, Miss Parrish. Everyone keeps telling me that we can't really help you. Well, I don't believe that. The danger is that if you keep refusing help, we might keep forgetting to try. We're not saints, you know, and we're rather overworked. feeling that the Wiltshire girl wants to communicate, and if we persist, we'll break through. Martha, have you tried to have a word with her?
When she first came in, she froze me. I haven't tried since.
Well, don't you think you should?
If she wants to behave like a spoiled child, that's up to her.
But she's on your wing.
I think Miss Parrish is right. It's always the difficult ones who get everyone running around after them. The well-behaved ones, the majority, get taken for granted. They get no special attention at all.
Well, they don't need it. It's a question of need.
Charles, why don't you have a word with her, find out what's bothering her?
Yeah, I don't mind. If Miss Parrish doesn't object.
Not in the least. If you want to get involved, that's your privilege. Now, Governor, if you'll excuse me, I did explain about the meeting with the new necro visitor.
Oh, yes, of course, go ahead. We finished anyway.
Thank you. Oh, Mr. Radley, you know Martha's style. She thinks it's unwise to get personally involved. Unprofessional. I think she's right.
Well, we all have to get involved sometimes.
Martha's problem is that she has a greater capacity for involvement than any of us, more compassion, if you like. A long time ago, she decided that she had to lock it away if she was to survive.
My name's Charles Radley. I'm the Deputy Governor. We're not exactly home from home in here, but we do try to see that our inmates are not more miserable than they need to be. Is there anything we can do for you? I hear you've been to see the psychiatrist. Well, I'm not one of that school myself. I believe that most people who find their way in here are bad rather than mad. Is there anyone you'd like to write to outside? Anyone you'd like to visit you? I wonder if you really are the problem that everyone says you are. You know, there's an old saying where I come from. It's better to keep your mouth shut and have people suspect you're a fool than to open it and remove all doubt. Well, I've enjoyed our little chat. Goodbye.
You cruel bastard.
What do you mean? I wasn't being cruel.
Mr. Radley?
Come on. This won't do.
I've never been able to stand sarcasm.
It's only a defence, any schoolmaster will tell you that.
Defence against me? I hadn't done anything to you, had I?
No. Well, I have a meeting. Let's go.
I thought you wanted to help.
Well, I do. We all do.
Will you be back?
Yeah, I'll try. If you want anything, tell Miss Parrish.
Oh, I see. Being handed down the line now, am I?
No, it's nothing like that. Just ways of doing things.
Well, I must admit you got further than I did. You should carry on.
No,
Why not?
it's up to you now.
I've explained my position.
Look, I'm not asking you to get involved. I've broken the ice. All you've got to do is follow through.
No, I know it's not the CID's job to be a private information service. Yes, I know, but I do like to be aware. But I mean, how do I know that settling Nora Blockley with her sister isn't frying pan into fire? Nothing, no. Marvellous. Well, I'd totally be grateful to you. And you. Bye.
Told you I cried, I suppose. And now you think I'm a pushover.
For what?
Whatever Sally Army-type moody you're selling.
I'm here to help.
Oh, yeah. Where's the hard man, Charles Radley?
The deputy is a very busy man. He has no time to spare.
Ha! So you get lumbered. You don't like that, do you?
As far as I'm concerned, you're just a tiresome poseurs.
Oh, get you. Poseurs. Been improving yourself at night school.
You must be very unhappy.
I dare say you're an expert.
Yes.
Please,
What?
stay.
Do you want to tell me?
talking against him. It's talking down my own brother.
What about your brother? I said, what about your brother?
I feel like some charity kid in a Victorian novel grassing on the family. You know you need help. You feel so helpless. I didn't want to tell you lot my private business.
Your brother.
I'm afraid he'll be neglecting me mum. She's been a semi-invalid for years with her heart. She needs a lot of attention.
What makes you think she won't be getting it from your brother?
Well, I'm always the one what's looked after her. He's been too busy looking after himself. She'll have no one now.
Where is she now?
In her flat.
On her own?
No, she's got a nurse with her, but it's not the same. She needs someone from the family. She needs Richard now.
Is there no one else?
No, it's just the three of us.
You must tackle your brother about it when he comes to visit you.
Won't come and visit me. Didn't even bother to come to the trial. He's not likely to come to the prison. He's ashamed of me.
Oh, you can't be sure of that, and there's no...
I'm sure of it.
Nevertheless, there's no sense in sitting here brooding about it, bottling it up. Write to him. Demand that he comes to see you and discuss it. How can he know how you feel unless you tell him?
He won't answer.
Oh, rubbish, I don't believe that. Will you try?
Yeah, all right.
That was 2 weeks ago. The brother hasn't replied to her letter, and I'm afraid she's now in a worse state than before.
Charles, you were the one that broke through last time. Do you think you should have another word with her?
No, Faye. No.
Very well. So, Martha, what do you propose to do?
Oh, excuse me, Mrs.
Well, it seems to me
Boswell.
there's only one thing I can do. Go and see the brother myself.
That's a job for welfare.
Oh, dear.
What's that supposed to mean, Mrs. Armitage?
Well, I do think it's a pity to get into these who-does-what disputes. It's a waste of time and energy.
There's no dispute, Mrs. Armitage. The function of welfare is very clearly defined, and it seems to me that if anyone should see Miss Wiltshire's brother, it should be me. Assistant governors have not been trained for that kind of thing.
Yeah, I can remember the day when they did it perfectly adequately as a normal part of their job.
Well, times have changed. Life has become more complicated.
Yeah, and it's the so-called experts that have complicated it. There's an old-fashioned quality which works miracles in most situations. It's called common sense.
Oh, common sense is very useful. Uncommon sense is better. That comes from training.
I think we'd better get on, if you don't mind. Martha, what do you say to Miss Clarke seeing the brother?
I have no interest in poaching on anybody else's territory. I have quite enough work of my own to do.
Very well.
Thank you. May I have the address?
You'd better do what I was going to have to do. Get it from the girl.
I'll be very happy to see him on your behalf. But I do need his address.
Get lost.
Don't you want your brother to come and see you?
Listen, Miss Welfare, or whatever you call yourself.
Miss Clarke.
I didn't ask you to poke your nose in. I don't need no welfare. Someday this whole bloody country's going to be run by women like you, doling out state handouts to the nation you've crippled with your bloody welfare.
Well, that's the first time anyone's ever taken a political view of me.
Oh, you should get about more. There's quite a lot of us. Now, goodbye.
I still think your brother should be approached.
I said goodbye.
Would it help if I saw her again?
No, I think not. She'd probably only take the opportunity of being rude to you.
Oh, I wouldn't mind that if I thought it would do any good.
It wouldn't.
Come in.
Ah, Martha, thank you for coming. You know, of course, that Miss Clarke has drawn a blank with Chantal.
Yes.
Well, if you still think it's the right thing to do, perhaps you should see the brother yourself.
I'd rather not. I've no intention of laying myself open to the charge of trying to steal somebody else's job.
Oh, I didn't mean to suggest that for 1 minute. That's all, Mrs. Boswell.
Yes, thank you, Miss Clarke. And thank you for trying. You want her, don't you?
Miss Parrish, have you decided to go yourself?
If I can. You may have muddied the water.
Oh, if you do go, may I give you a few pointers? There is a technique, you know, as in everything.
Thank you, but I'm not looking for techniques. I shall simply be my own flat-footed self.
Miss Parrish, it's Wiltshire again.
I'm sorry they sprang Miss Clarke on you. It wasn't my idea.
That's what done it, having a nerd like that sticking her nose in my private business.
She's not a nerd, whatever that may be. She's a conscientious woman who cares about what she's doing.
Yeah. Well, she wouldn't have got nowhere. He'd have kicked her out in her ear.
And me?
What about you?
I might kick back.
You mean you want to go and see him? You must be soft.
What's his address?
What you going to say to him?
I don't plan things like that in advance.
Why do you want to do it?
Do you care?
All right, you've got a pencil.
Richard Wiltshire?
That's right. Who are you? I'll take that. Please sit down. I'm glad you've come. I was going to telephone the prison tomorrow. Can I get you a drink, Miss Parrish? Mrs. Parrish.
Miss? No, thank you.
Well, please sit down. Cigarette?
No, thank you.
Chantal is all right, is she? I mean, as all right as anyone can be in there. You haven't come to tell me anything alarming, I hope. I know it must be rather rare for you to make a call like this.
There's nothing physically wrong with her, no.
But?
Why haven't you been to see her? Answered her letter?
Oh, yes. Oh, the poor love. She must think I'm the most frightful swine. But you see, I only got her letter today.
But she wrote 2 weeks ago.
No, but I've just got back from Australia, literally today. I'm a computer consultant, software. And of course I knew nothing about this. It's been a thunderbolt.
I see.
When I did get her letter, my first thought was not for Chantal, but Mother. I knew what all this must have done to her. I've just left her. She's pretty low. Must say I'm quite shattered myself. And yet I can't say it never crossed my mind that Chantal might find herself in trouble one day. She's always been the wild one of the family.
You certainly seem quite different types.
Types?
She's rougher. The son of the family got the opportunities, perhaps.
Oh, dear. She's still doing her model girl's cockney, is she? My sister, Miss Parrish, was schooled at Benenden and finished in Geneva. She's as highly polished as Dutch diamond.
It wasn't quite the impression I got.
No, it wouldn't be. She's always had a nostalgia de la boue. She likes to talk and act like a tough. She likes to mix with villains and neo-criminals, like some of those French film stars do. I warned her that they'd use her sooner or later.
You said before that your first thought was for your mother. That wasn't the impression I got from Chantal either. She thinks that you'll neglect her. That's most of her trouble. She says that you've always left your mother to her.
Miss Parrish, my darling sister. I love her dearly, but she's a bit of a romancer. It's simply not true that I've left Mother all to her. My job takes me all over the world, and I can't be with Chantal and Mother as much as I'd like. But I set them up in a beautiful flat of their own with a full-time nurse living in.
I certainly didn't know about that.
Tomorrow I'll be transferring both her and the nurse here, so I can keep a closer eye on her.
Your sister will be so relieved, I can't tell you.
She should have known. Anyway, when can I come and see the darling nutcase?
Oh, I'll see what I can arrange and let you know.
Terrific. Well, how about that drink now?
Oh, yes, please. A very dry sherry, if you have one.
Indeed we have, madam. You know, you're lucky.
Why do you say that?
You like what you're doing.
It's a job.
No, it's more than that. It takes one to know one. I like what I'm doing too, you see. Your very good health.
Cheers. You're really very fond of her, aren't you?
Yes.
I'd rather he came on an ordinary visiting day. Why should Chantal have the privilege of a private visit?
She's unpredictable. If something were to go wrong between her and her brother, she could be violent again.
Is that your view, Peter?
Well, it's certainly something that has to be considered.
Very well, but it's not to be taken as a precedent. In future, she must make do with a normal visit.
Richard.
Chantal, you funny old thing, you.
Oh, Richard.
What am I going to do with you, eh? I can't leave you alone for 5 minutes.
Oh,
It's
Richard.
enough. Sit down, please, will you?
I thought you wouldn't come. I thought you were so disgusted with me.
I am disgusted with it. But what's new about that, eh? Anyway, I can't have you spreading libelous stories about me all over the prison, now can I? I mean, I may feed Mother on cat food, but there's no reason why everyone shouldn't.
Oh, dear, Richard. I'm sorry. I really am sorry. I was awfully low. I really believed everything I was saying.
Oh, thank you very much.
Oh, you know what I mean.
Which of them was it?
Which what?
Oh, don't play ping-pong with me. Which of your wine bar Humphrey Bogarts got you into this mess?
I don't want to talk about it.
I dare say you don't, but the point is, have you learned your lesson? I mean, I hate to say I told you so.
But you did, didn't you? If you mean am I ashamed, yes, I am. Of course I am. I've been a fool and an idiot. But I was so desperate at first. If it hadn't been for Miss Parrish, I don't know what I would have done.
You don't have to tell me about Miss Parrish. She's having dinner with me this week, you know.
That's news to me.
No, please say you will. You can meet Mother. She's been dying to meet you.
I'm sorry.
Oh, yes, please do. Your knowing Richard would be like a link between us.
No, it's really very kind of you, but I couldn't manage it at the moment. Some other time, perhaps.
Well, whenever you like. It's a standing invitation.
Thank you. I'm sure you've got lots to talk about. I've left them alone for a few minutes.
The brother's almost as good-looking as the girl, isn't he?
They're certainly a striking pair.
What surprised me, even through the glass partition, was how happy they were to see each other. Makes it hard to understand how she thought that he'd abandon her and would neglect the mother.
That's the way prison takes some people. They cease to think rationally.
Yes, I suppose that's true.
I did just want to tell you how very much I appreciate what you've done and are doing for poor Chantal. She's lived in a world of fantasy for so long, and now she's faced with the hideous reality. The shock of that place must have been appalling. I simply don't like to think what would have become of her without you.
I'm sure she'd have settled down anyway, once she'd thought it through.
Well, you're very modest. Don't let my children put on you, by the way. They've always had great charm, which they know how to use.
Thank you, Mother. Would you like a sherry, dear?
Now, Mr. Wiltshire.
That's his way of getting rid of me. He knows that I adore it and I can't have it, so that Nurse Stowe has to cart me off before I make a fuss.
Well, I think we should be going back to bed anyway. I'll bring you some nice soup and a boiled egg.
Oh, what gormandizing. I can hardly wait. Goodbye, Miss Parrish. Please give my love to Chantal and tell her that I'll come and see her just as soon as I'm able.
I don't think I've ever got the better of my mother in my life. Can I get you another drink before dinner?
Oh, thank you. Are you sure there's nothing I can do to help?
Everything is completely under control. Dinner is reaching a peak of coordinated perfection all by itself. I'm not a computer expert for nothing.
Oh.
I must say, you're not in the least how I imagined an assistant governor.
You aren't exactly what I expected either.
Oh.
Chantal somehow suggested a mixture of Bill Sykes and Himmler.
And what am I?
Well, not that anyway. I wonder why she did that.
I suppose she thought it was true at the time, in the state she was in.
But anybody can see you're all so close to each other.
She was obviously not thinking straight. Ah, my robots inform me that dinner is ready. Excuse me.
Are you sure there's nothing I can do?
Quite sure. You just sit there and finish your drink.
Mrs. Rudd, I don't think you realise what it'll mean if you don't take your sister in. A man's run off.
Serve her right.
You haven't got a home. It'll mean a hostel. And they won't allow her to keep a baby with her.
Good thing, too. She'd only knock her about again.
No, I don't think so. But what she needs is a settled background, some support. Isn't that what families are supposed to be about? Sticking together in times of trouble?
She disgraced her family.
Well, you're in the only family she's got. What you mean is she disgraced you. Look, if you feel like this and you're her sister, can you imagine how the other women are going to feel? Nora is in for a bad time. She's going to need you.
Anyway, it's not only me, it's my husband.
Have you asked him?
No.
Will you?
I'll see.
Oh, well, don't leave it too long, will you? Because I want to fix Nora a job, and that'll be difficult until I get it.
It's been so marvellous you're keeping contact with Mother and Richard these past few weeks. I don't feel nearly so cut off now. How was Mother? Was she still all right?
She was fine. She sends her love.
Will they let her go out yet?
Not just yet, I'm afraid, but they will soon, I hope.
It would be so good to see her. She's so sunny. Richard and I never really treated her like a mother, you know. She was always more of a contemporary, like an older sister. I remember when she was divorcing Father. We were about 7 or 8. She said, "You know that dreadful man that smells of cigars and scratches your face with his cheek? Well, I'm going to get rid of him and buy an Alsatian." We thought it was so funny. Somehow it took a lot of the dread out of it. She gave us lots of fun as children.
So Richard was telling me.
Oh, sorry. I'm afraid it must bore you hearing the same things.
No, of course not.
It's just we can't help it, really. We're so alike. We are like twins, really. We love the same things, and we hate the same things. We feel drawn to the same people.
Yes, it's difficult to believe now what a state you were in about him when you first came in. What a villain he was supposed to be.
Well, I was in a dreadful state. I really didn't know what I was saying half the time.
Yes. Have you enrolled for work yet?
No, not yet.
Well, I think you should. You'll get terribly bored doing nothing.
Yes, I know.
And you won't really get to know anybody else until you join the working parties.
I just need time. I will soon, I promise.
Hello, Martha. Just a second, will you? Thanks, Teddy, as always.
I'm sorry, old man. There's no point in giving you a lot of twaddle.
No, I agree. Very good of you. Well, bye for now.
Goodbye. And remember what I said.
Who was that?
Oh, a friend of the family, Teddy Smythe.
He was a doctor.
He's no doctor, friend of the family.
Is he treating your mother?
Yes.
How is she today?
Oh, she's fine. Come in.
Is that what Dr. Smythe said?
More or less.
What, that she's more fine or less fine?
I don't follow you.
Oh, Richard, I haven't spent years in the prison service without recognising evasiveness when I see it. Now, what exactly did Dr. Smythe say?
Nothing. Nothing alarming. Oh, hell. Look, the fact is he's worried about her, terribly worried.
Has she had a setback?
No. He's been worried about her for a long time.
But you've always been so cheerful and optimistic about her. And she's always been so lively herself that I was hoping that she'd be fit enough soon to be taken to visit Chantal.
Look, I'm afraid I've deliberately misled you. So has Mother. We didn't want to worry Chantal. The truth is that the old girl has been going steadily downhill ever since Chantal went to jail. She took it far harder than she let anyone see.
May I see her?
I'm afraid not. The doctor's allowing no visitors.
She's that bad?
Oh, no, Sue, not like that. Here, let me do it. Here, I feel like Madame Papa John.
Got a pin. Thanks, Rosa. You got any more?
Come down anyway.
No, it won't.
All she's obsessed with now is seeing Chantal. The trip to prison would kill her. If she could see her just once, just get a glimpse of her somehow, it might give her the spark of fight she needs. As it is, she just seems to have given up.
I wish I'd known sooner.
In a way, I'm glad you know. At least I can sort of share it with someone now. I haven't known what the hell to do. Do you think we ought to tell Chantal?
You should be able to answer that better than I. How do you think she'd cope with it?
Not well.
Then I don't think we should risk telling her unless it's absolutely unavoidable. Agreed?
Yes, I suppose you're right.
How is she? She's very weak. I'm going to try her on some broth.
Can't I peep in just for a second?
I'm afraid not. Dr. Smythe was quite categorical about visitors.
Well, in that case, I'd better be off.
Oh, thanks as always. Martha, could you take this to Chantal? It's just a line from Mother.
Oh, I'll see she gets it.
Thanks. I'll see you to the left.
Started about 5 minutes ago, just after she got her mail. Stand aside. Let us through.
She won't let anyone near her.
It's worse than when she first came in.
All right, you've got plenty to do. Get on with it.
Chantal? Chantal?
You lied to me. Richard lied to me. You told me my mother was fine. You told me she was being looked after. My mother is dying.
She doesn't say that.
It's there between every line. She doesn't want to die. But if she has to, she'd rather like to have a last look at her daughter. If that's not possible, she'd like her daughter to understand that it's not her fault.
I'm sure it's not.
What does the doctor say then?
Doctors could be...
Liar! I
What I don't understand is why you let her have the letter in the first place. You must have read it. You must have known the damage it could do.
It was her letter. I had no right to withhold it.
Then why are we required to censor letters at all? If we've no right to use our judgment, we might as well not bother. I can tell you this, if it'd been my choice, she'd not have seen it.
I couldn't have kept it from her even if I'd wanted to. It was her own brother who asked me to give it to her.
Brother? Asked you to give her a letter like that when he knows what she's like?
Yes.
Then you should have pointed out to him the damage it could do.
He must have known what he was doing.
You've got personally involved, haven't you?
Yes.
Do we get any allowances, like, for taking Nora in?
Oh, good gracious, no. You do it because you want to.
Oh, just checking. You never know what you're entitled to these days.
Jimmy. We've decided we'd like to have her back. Well, she is family after all. She can have the top room until she gets on her feet, like.
And I think I've fixed her up with a job, if she wants it. Mind her at the laundrette round the corner. I had a burst of men there this morning.
Oh, that's marvellous. I'll pop in on them later in the week to confirm it. Look, Nora probably won't show it, but the fact that you want her, it'll be like a black cloud lifting from her.
An out visit. On what grounds?
Compassionate grounds. The mother is dying. It's possible that a meeting with her daughter would give her the will to live. And since she's too ill to come here, the daughter would have to go to her.
Will to live's a pretty vague phrase. Not much to base a decision like this on.
This is a letter from the mother's doctor. He says it's his belief that a visit from her daughter would make all the difference to his patient.
Peter?
Well, nobody can measure the will to live with instruments, but any doctor will tell you that it does exist and that it can be strengthened.
There's another consideration, too. The girl herself.
What about her?
She's in a deep depression. She feels guilty, as though she's brought all this on her mother herself. Dr. Mays, isn't it possible that a meeting could shake her out of this depression?
Well, given the facts as you put them, yes, I'd say it was a strong possibility.
Very well, then. If those don't constitute compassionate grounds, what would? There are precedents.
Hardly comparable, Martha. None of it involved an outing as early in a sentence as this.
But the circumstances are unique. Their mother might die.
It's mainly the mother that you're worried about, is it?
And the girl, too, naturally.
I take it you've met the mother.
Yes.
And the brother. He's quite the glamour boy, they tell me.
The whole family is charming.
Tell me, Martha, would you be so anxious to help if they weren't so charming?
I don't know.
What if this meeting has the effect that you hope for and then wears off? I couldn't let you repeat it, you know.
I wouldn't ask you to. I should make it perfectly clear to everybody concerned that this is a once-only exercise.
And it's your professional judgment that this vitally concerns the well-being of a prisoner?
Yes, Governor.
Very well.
Thank you, Governor.
It's not true. You're an angel. Oh, I love you, I love you, I love you. I knew I could trust you. I knew from the moment I saw you.
It's just this once, mind. I can't manage it again.
No, it'll be enough. I know it will. Oh, you don't know how much this means to me.
Now, calm down. I want you to approach it calmly and sensibly.
I will, I promise. When's it to be?
As soon as possible. Tomorrow, if it suits your mother and your brother. I'll have to find out.
Oh, I wish I could be there to see their faces.
Martha, you're a miracle worker.
No, Richard.
Oh,
Please.
You're a fairy godmother. I really didn't think you'd manage it.
We happen to have an enlightened governor at Stone Park, that's all.
She must trust you and your judgment.
Yes, I'm happy to say I think she does.
Doesn't surprise me. You inspire trust and affection. You know you made a difference to us all.
I thought perhaps about 3 o'clock tomorrow, if that would suit you.
Perfectly. Excuse me. Hello, Teddy. Great news. Martha's fixed a visit.
Oh, well done. Not before time, though, I'm afraid.
Why, has she been worse?
She's just not trying.
Well, Chantal's visit will back her up.
Yeah, it should do. It may also overexcite her, of course. We shall have to go very carefully.
Shall I go in and tell her?
No, you leave that to me.
Thank you.
Don't thank me, Nora. Thank your sister and her husband. They really do want you.
I shall have to take the chill off it. It's been in the fridge.
Has he told her?
Yes.
How did she take it?
She wants some orange juice. It's the first time she's wanted anything for weeks.
You see, it's beginning to work already.
Once she's well enough, she can visit Chantal. Keep on telling her that.
Yes, Doctor, certainly, Doctor.
I must be off.
Oh, I thought you might stay for a meal.
Oh, it's very sweet of you, but I have to get back.
A drink, then. A tiny celebratory glass.
I can't. I've left somebody holding the fort for me. Perhaps tomorrow when I bring Chantal.
All right. Anyway, it's not as if it all ends here, is it? I mean, you're nearly one of the family now.
Till tomorrow, then.
Okay. Smoke?
No, thanks.
I think there's some champagne in the fridge, Teddy, if anybody wants any.
Right.
Get the car ready for tomorrow.
Can't you just see it tomorrow, eh? Miss Martha Parrish arrives with dearest Chantal. I take little sister reverently into the bedroom.
Where her mother's reported as being rather worse.
While Miss Parrish tactfully remains outside so as not to intrude on a touching family occasion. She waits.
And waits.
And waits.
And waits.
Meanwhile, you three go through the bathroom, down the back stairs, and its next stop, Heathrow.
Martha, how nice.
I'm sorry.
You've come back for that drink. Come on, we're just having a tiny celebratory glass ourselves. I think we can squeeze a glass in for the girl who did it all, don't you, Teddy?
Actually, I've come back for my glove. I think I must have left it somewhere. Oh, there it is. Thank goodness. I thought I might have dropped it somewhere. Isn't it funny how one hates to lose one glove? It's almost better to lose them both.
Yes, I know. I feel the same.
Well, if you're sure you won't have that drink.
Thanks all the same. Goodbye. See you tomorrow.
Cheerio. Oh, dear. Those soulful Russian eyes. I hate to think how they're going to look at about 3:30 tomorrow afternoon when she finally goes into that bedroom.
Miss Clarke's been looking for you.
Oh, yes, thank you.
I've been looking for you, Miss Parrish.
Yes, I've been wanting to talk to you, too. I need your help. A little of that expertise you were talking about.
Oh, you know, then.
That Chantal and her family are a gang of villains, yes.
How'd you find out?
Oh, there are a lot of little warning signals which I ignored, hoping that I was wrong. But when old ladies at death's door suddenly start skipping about and drinking champagne, even I have to get the message. Still, I had to play it out to the end. I had to find out.
Oh, I heard you got an out visit for the girl tomorrow. That's what finally helped me to get my contact in the CID to talk.
Very sensible. I should have thought of that.
It's all highly slanderous because they can't prove anything, but he says they've been after them for years. They're a family team. They operate here and on the continent. Currency frauds and confidence tricks, mostly. The girl being pulled in was their first failure.
What a fool they took me for.
So have you told her? She knew. How's she taken it?
With Miss Parrish, how can you tell?
Did you see them? Did you see Mother? Yes, I did. They said 3 o'clock tomorrow would suit them very well.
You're fantastic. Oh, I love you. I love you. Oh, I'm so excited. It's just like Christmas Eve when I was a child. I shan't be able to sleep a wink. Oh, God. What if she dies during the night?
That old bitch will live to be 150. She'll still be around when you get out in a year's time. That is if she and your brother aren't inside themselves by then. I think the family's luck may have broken.
Now you can have a real depression.
Mrs. Armitage seems to think that you've taken it rather hard.
Nobody likes to be made a fool of.
Still, you did have the last laugh.
Yes.
It's not them that you're angry with, is it? It's yourself.
After all I said about not getting involved, absolute, unvarying rigidity.
Oh, for heaven's sake, Martha, sit down and relax.
But I've let you all in for it as well. If they brought it off, it would have been you who'd have been blamed.
I could have put a stop to the art visit. As a matter of fact, I nearly did. But I felt you were trying to prove something to yourself.
I was conned.
You were nearly conned. We're all vulnerable to that.
Not in the same way.
We all have different ways. We adjust, and then we function. We don't put a padlock on ourselves. God give me the courage to change the things I can, to accept the things I can't, and the wisdom to know the difference. I got that off the back of a matchbox.
Perhaps. If you'll excuse me, Governor, I'm due back on the wing.
Yes, of course.
And thank you.
How did the Wiltshire girl look when you told her?
Absolutely ridiculous.